Before we get into tonight's episode, did you know that Guillermo del Toro publicly disowned this film?
Not just disowned it, he said the version that hit theaters wasn't his movie. Harvey Weinstein ripped apart his edit, forced reshoots, and took the whole thing out of his hands.
And it gets wilder. The situation got so bad that James Cameron almost came to blows with Harvey Weinstein defending Del Toro.
Tonight, we're talking about the creature feature that was itself, mimicking what it was supposed to be.
The movie is Mimic. And there's a lot more going on here than a giant bug in the subway. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Friday Night Fright Night, the show where we dig into horror, talk about what makes it work, what makes it fail, and everything in between. I'm GC from Face the Movies.
And I'm Lee from Media Whiplash.
That's right. And if you're hearing Media Whiplash, Lee's got a little bit of announcement for you guys. Go ahead, Lee. Let him know.
Yeah, guys, so I decided this year to just change it up a little bit on my Instagram and my YouTube channel. For those millions and millions of you subscribed to my channel will know that I did get rid of my videos, but some new stuff will be coming. And the reason I changed it to Media Whiplash is as much as I love film and film is my life, I do like talking about music and books a lot too. So I kind of wanted to switch it to Media Whiplash, so I'm able to talk about all types of physical media, celebrating physical media as much as all of us love it. So yeah, in the future soon, I'll be adding stuff with books and music on top of movies. So that's why the change came.
Dude, I love that, man. And guys, I mean, make sure to go now. If you get confused when you're looking up Lee's channel or his Instagram, now you know it's Media Whiplash. I still got to update some of the old videos and all that stuff to reflect it. So that's gonna be a little work. Thank you, Lee. But
Nah,
but
but no worries. I mean, it's up and coming, but I just wanted to do the name change first, and then everything else is little by little.
dude, and it makes sense, man, because a lot of these videos, like sometimes your background will be the books as well. And it's important, man. It's who you are. You love all aspects of physical media, and now it's gonna be fully represented. And that means it's a ton more content too, which is friggin' awesome.
Yeah, yeah, coming soon.
Hell yeah. Now, specifically talking about coming soon, we're going to be tonight. We're stepping back into the 1997 for Guillermo del Toro's Mimic, a sci fi horror set in the tunnels beneath New York City, where a genetically engineered insect has done what nature told it to not do, survived, evolved, and learned to look like us.
And if you've seen it, you know there's a lot to unpack here. The creature design, the atmosphere, the performances, and yeah, the trouble production with Del Toro himself, as has been vocal about it for decades.
Now, full spoiler warning if you haven't seen this movie, we're doing a deep dive on this one. If you watched it, we watched it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
This is Friday Night Fright Night. So, guys, it's been 29. Lee was mentioning next year will be 30 years for this movie. So, if you haven't seen it yet,
yeah.
this is your warning. Um, Now, besides that, we're going to jump in. We're going to do something a little different. Normally, we do our sponsor breaks at the end of the episode. But for this one, going forward, we've made a few changes for the layout. So, you're going to notice in this episode, a few little things are slightly different. But if you've been following us for a while, don't worry. Majority of the stuff is the same. So all the stuff that you enjoyed is still going to be there. We're just trying to get it a little bit more organized, guys. We're growing. We're in season 3, so we're trying to grow and get better at this. But besides that, before we head down into the tunnels, quick word from tonight's sponsor and pretty much every night's sponsor for us. One that's close to our hearts, ValoriaVideo.com.
Yes, Valora Video is a small independent business for people who still believe physical media matters. In a world where movies you love can vanish from streaming service overnight, Valora is keeping film collecting alive. Blu-rays, DVDs, special editions, and the stuff we actually talk about on the show.
Absolutely. A lot of the stuff that I've talked about, well, that we've talked about, they carry on their website. And here's the thing: when you buy from a small shop like Valoria, you're not feeding an algorithm. You're supporting real people who love movies just like us, and movies like The Mimic. Now, it's with its theatrical cut, which it's been a nightmare for me to say that word. So just forgive me, guys, if I butcher it. It also has a director's cut, which I'm still trying to figure out which one I've seen. Now, that's exactly the kind of releases of physical media that are made for, right? To have these different versions, have these special packagings and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and if you want to start to grow your collection, head over to Valora Video and use the code Face the Movies 10. That's Face the Movies 10, all in one word, for 10% off your movie purchase.
That's right, guys. Support small businesses, support physical media, and build a shelf those streaming services can never delete. Valora Video, code Face the Movies 10. And all right, let's get into it. Now, let's see here. We're going to do a fun / personal icebreaker. Lee, what's the most unsettling thing you've ever seen in a subway, tunnel, or underground space? It could be real or fictional.
Man, it's a good question that unfortunately I don't know if I have a great answer for. I have, living in South Florida, there's no subways here.
Yeah.
If we were, we'd be it'd be under the water. But I've traveled enough that I've ridden subways, the New York ones a few times, DC, even some in Europe. And I mean, other than some of them are cleaner than others, I don't even remember seeing rats in New York. Like, I'm sure there is. If you live there, you go every day, you're gonna see rats and stuff like that. I personally never saw them. So I really haven't seen anything else outside of just being a little dirty, graffiti, things like that. But I will say that there's something about subways. Uh, Traveling with my wife, we are the type that we ride the subways wherever we go, in the cities that we visit. So there is times when you're going out to dinner, you're staying out late, having a few drinks, and riding the subway sometimes, past like 1 in the morning and stuff. It has like a little creepy vibe to it. I don't know if it's from growing up watching movies and seeing the subways and creepy things and bad things happening in subways, from people getting killed to, all these different type of things, that, stays in your mind. So there's definitely a creepiness to it and an eeriness to it when you're under there. But that's really like my main thing, just the atmosphere that it creates. I think it's really it's pretty cool. I enjoy taking it. The differences between the day where it's super busy and then at night when it's pretty dead, but then you don't know who's down there, and you'll see people performing music or doing things while you're in the subway, especially in New York. There'll be kids that come in and start break dancing or doing like crazy things just to get some couple bucks, things like that. So it's very energetic and also eerie at night. So I do like the atmosphere mostly.
Dude, I'm like you. Well, I've never been in like a subway or anything like that. I've been in underground spaces and stuff like that before, but I guess the most unsettling thing that I've seen, like that's real, it's like people like just like because especially because of the homeless population, stuff like that in New York. One thing I've heard, it's like a lot of homeless people, a lot of mentally ill people, they're like shitting on the floor, like randomly just shitting there, like on the subway thing when you're like standing there waiting for it. But besides that, I mean, like fictional wise, I guess I would say like those abandoned cities. Like, I mean, we're gonna talk about like in this movie, right, where there's like a lot of abandoned structures and stuff underground. To me, that's creepy as hell, right? Because there's a lot of stories of people living underground, like the mole people and stuff. And there's like that's like a proven fact that there's communities and actual cities underground, literally. Like, and just I mean, and not like cities or with like the lights and like a normal place, but it's just like could be hundreds of people just living underground, just disappear from society, and they're like, I don't want to deal with like taxes and this and that, and that's where they live, man.
Yeah, the
Um,
Ninja Turtles live down there in New York, so
Dude, the Ninja Turtles,
they got a
man.
whole nice little setup there. So, especially in part two.
Dude, oh man, imagine that. Imagine going down there and you just see a talking turtle. You're like, holy shit, it's real.
Now I've seen it all.
I
Well,
know.
let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. Okay, so before we get into the details, what's your one word gut feeling about Mimic? And does that word change between the theatrical cut and the director's cut? We already had this discussion behind the scenes that we're not sure if GC has seen the director's cut yet, and I was telling him that I haven't seen the theatrical since probably back in the late '90s. So we actually are a little bit misinformed here when it comes to that. But you can still answer the one word thing if you want for the movie.
Ah, man, I want to say one word that goes into detail. I would say shouldn't. Shouldn't is a key word for this because, as quoting Ian Malcolm, like you shouldn't be messing with nature and life finds a way. And this movie is a perfect example of the way to hell is paved with good intention. And that's exactly like the chaos because they're trying to solve one problem. They're not doing the research properly. Like nobody's asking the what ifs, and then
Yeah.
shit hits the fan. But yeah, it's like Lee said, he has the director's cut for anybody listening, in his shelf on the back. Um,
Yeah.
and then the version that I got, it was like a streaming version, on Tubi. And
And it
also
didn't
another.
specify if it was directors or theatrical. That's the problem sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. We would, you know what we would have to do, I think maybe because I know the director's cut has a few extra minutes.
Hmm.
Maybe comparing the runtime
Yeah.
for this one and that one. We could probably do that later. Damn, I just realized that we could have done it before, but here we are, guys. We're still learning. um, but yeah, so this movie, which I was surprised, man. I didn't know that. I had only seen this movie when I was a kid or when I was in high school on VHS, and that's it. So I hadn't revisited since then. Um, since I would say probably 2002, 2003 when I saw it. But even now as an adult, I had no idea that Del Toro was the director for this film. And watching it, you could clearly see his style on it. But we're gonna talk right now in this segment. We're gonna be setting the little stage a little bit for you guys, right? We're gonna talk a little bit about Del Toro, what he was up to in the '90s and work our way there. Um, but coming off Chronos, which is one I still have to see. I know there's a Criterion version for it. This movie from 1993. It's his Spanish language debut that won the Critics' Week Prize at Cannes and put him on Hollywood's radar. Mimic was
Yeah.
his first English language debut and his Miramax Weinstein entry point, a deal that would haunt him. uh, and then, last but not least, at the time he was 33 years old, largely unknown to mainstream American audiences, and had little leverage against Weinstein, which completely sucks.
Yeah, and it kind of goes to show the experience he had in this movie. I mean, we're gonna get into it
Yeah.
throughout the episode, but it like he did Chronos in well, it came out I think came out in the States in '93, but he did it in Mexico in '92, and then he came and did Mimic here, but then he went back and did The Devil's Backbone in 2001. So he needed to like go back to this and kind of like start over after this movie because this movie probably left him with a really bad taste in his mouth. So
Yeah.
he went back and then of course after that he hit Hollywood harder. He's like probably like, oh, let me come back with a sequel to already existing thing like Blade 2 in 2002, and then he went on with the after that Hellboy and stuff like that. So he definitely had to get it out of his system going back to what he kind of came up with Chronos and then doing Devil's Backbone. And then I guess he gave Hollywood his other chance, and he's become this really great filmmaker, and doing all types of movies here.
Dude, yeah, Pan's Labyrinth. I mean, the most recent release of Frankenstein, that was on
Yeah.
Netflix. And I've never seen The Devil's Backbone. That's one that's been on my list. I know there's a Criterion for it. I've heard really good things for it.
Yeah, I
So
remember liking that one better than Chronos, but those are two that I saw when around the time they came out. Well,
yeah,
not Chronos, I saw around the same time as Devil's Backbone. So probably around 2001, 2002, I saw them both, and I don't remember them that well. I remember liking Devil's Backbone better, but I would have to definitely give them a rewatch now
yeah,
because that's why I think it's important to rewatch movies sometimes because there's movies that you might love when you first saw it, and then you rewatch them and they get worse, or vice versa, which I love is when a movie doesn't grab you as much. And I kind of want to mention that this is way off topic, but I just want to say it real quick since I'm talking about this. Jordan Peele, right? He's only has 3 movies, and as I watched his movies, I always thought Get Out was my favorite movie of his, and then I thought Us was really awesome, but it was kind of like the story wasn't as good. I wasn't like that into it. And then Nope, I was like, this is his worst one. I wasn't too big on it. I saw it in IMAX. Ever since, for some reason, that movie keeps drawing me that I keep wanting to rewatch it. I've now seen Nope, I think 3 times, and each time that movie gets better. That I could officially say right now that at least today, Nope is my favorite Jordan Peele movie on top of Get Out. So that's just kind of what I mean. Like sometimes you watch a movie, you
Nice.
think, oh, it's pretty good, but for some reason it keeps calling you and you keep wanting to rewatch it. And I think that reason is also because like it grows on you and you end up loving it, you know?
No, that's what it is, man. I mean, I'm big on telling people it's like give it a chance. Sometimes that's happened to me in the past too, where I'll watch a movie and I'm like, it's not for me. And then years later you revisit it. And that's the thing too, when you revisit movies, your especially years later, your mind is somewhere different, right? You've changed as a person. I mean, they say every 7 to 10 years, like we kind of change as a person. I mean, it could be very subtle between emotions, thought process, you name it. But it's one of those. It's like, man, and Nope. It's like one of those movies too. Yeah, it's like the more you watch it, the more you're like, huh, okay, that's interesting. I didn't catch that before. I didn't catch this, and yeah, sometimes it just takes a while, man. I mean, like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it happens, and it's very rare for me, at least personally, that I'll rewatch a movie that I really loved the first time and just start to like it less and less. It's usually the other way around, or it stays the same. And then there's that thing of certain movies. There's some movies that I hate, and I
yeah.
have given them like one more chance, and I'm like, all right, life's too short. I can only watch this twice, like you know. But for the most part, like I never hated Nope. I liked it, and I saw it in IMAX. I thought it looked great, but I was like, it was not my favorite of his. For some reason, it kept calling me. I bought the Blu-ray, and I already feel like watching it again already, and it'll be like my fourth time. So like, I really enjoyed that one. But let's get back into Mimic and let's talk about the Weinstein problem. Let's take a little couple turns if you want. Let's talk about some of these key points about the Weinstein problem that went behind the scenes in this movie.
Yeah, let's do that. Guys, real quick, let us know in the comments if you want us to do an episode on Nope, because Lee's already itching to watch it, and now he's got me excited. I've only seen it once, so
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah.
excited to watch it. So let us know, vote if you guys want us to do it. But yeah, let's go into this Weinstein problem because we got to talk about it. But yeah, dude, if you want to kick us off.
Sure. So the Weinstein brothers, they took editorial control away from Del Toro. Heavy post production interference included forced reshoots, recuts, and the removal of footage Del Toro considered essential to the film's tone.
Dude, it's horrible, man. I mean, especially as a director, you're creating something that you believe in your heart. Like you're like, this is what's gonna really explain the story. And then somebody comes in with they're just throwing money at it and they're just like, no, we don't need that without fully understanding how to create a story. I mean, that's just
Yeah, the Weinsteins are kind of weird because obviously we know this whole background thing with the Weinsteins. We
yeah.
don't need to talk about that part, but let's talk about their professionalism. They did produce a lot of good dramas in the '90s, guys.
Yeah.
They brought Good Will Hunting, just a bunch of movies. I'm talking about 1997 because Good Will Hunting was up for Oscars, just like Titanic. So they did come out with some good stuff, but it just seemed to me like, especially with horror and sci-fi stuff like that they produce, they tend to always want to have their extra input on those type of movies, especially. So there has been other movies behind the scenes that there's been a lot of problems. Phantoms is another one. So there's like a lot where the movies get butchered, and these guys were a little notorious for it in the
Yeah.
horror game. So yeah, it's unfortunate.
Well, just want to say Ben Affleck was the shit in Phantoms. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, let's get back into this, man. I mean, Del Toro has said Miramax complained that early footage was too dark, ironic for a horror film about monsters in a subway. And when
Yeah.
you watch this movie, dude, I mean, it's a dark movie. It reminds me of shit.
AVP
Which one?
Requiem.
No, no, a little bit, but you know what? It's with what's in the box?
7.
It reminds me of Seven because of the raininess, like the darkness and all that stuff.
Oh,
It
I thought
had
you were
that.
talking more about like cinematography wise. Yes, it does. That's a good point because I
Yeah,
was looking at the opening of the movie and it has that 7 opening big time.
yeah,
The music, everything, But 7 looks beautiful. Especially this new 4K, like it looks great. This movie does look a little too dark. Now, I will say that I watched it on my projector and it looked dark as shit.
yeah,
And then when I put it on my TV, it was brighter. It looked a little brighter, not necessarily better. I actually thought if the projector would have just been a little brighter, the movie looked better on it because I felt like the transfer on the Blu-ray is not that great. Now I think KL released a 4K of this, so maybe it cleaned it up and the movie looks a lot better. But yeah, the Blu-ray transfer is not great. But like you were saying, yeah, it is a dark. It has
Yeah.
that dark movie context to it for sure.
Yeah, the version that I saw, man, I could think of 2 or 3 times where I was like, did the TV turn off or something? Like you couldn't see shit.
Right.
But that's cool, dude. I don't know. Kino Lorbo like did the 4K, or maybe I forgot. I probably did see it somewhere posted. That's cool to know. I mean, I'll definitely look into that. See if there's like a sale or something for it. Maybe during Barnes and Noble they have like a sale or something. Get it for like $15.
Yeah.
But
So another talking point is that the second unit footage was inserted without Del Toro's approval.
shit.
Breaking his deliberate visual consistency, his use of color, light, and composition, which is we were just talking about, also could have added to that.
Yeah, no, and you do notice it a bit throughout the film. There's moments where everything looks beautiful and it's like, oh damn, like very cinematic, and then all of a sudden it looks a little like shitty, and you're like, huh, the lighting seems a little off, and it's almost like it is. It's two movies, like in one. It's like the Weinstein and then the Del Toro.
It's funny because Robert Rodriguez did a little bit of the second unit directing for this movie. So,
Hmm,
and he obviously worked with the Weinsteins a lot too.
yeah,
But it's weird that he did this because he was already a full blown director on his own stuff. He had done El Mariachi, he had done Desperado in '95, and he had done From Dusk Till Dawn in '96. So I don't know why in '97 he did a little bit of second unit directing for this. I didn't read enough of it that maybe they brought him in to direct some stuff second unit, because without even Del Toro's knowledge, which would be pretty messed up. But yeah, there's just so much stuff behind the scenes here.
dude. One thing too that I was not aware of, and if you have any more info besides what I'm gonna mention, dude, let us know. But so the situation nearly turned physical, and not in a good way. like like
Mhm.
James Cameron, who was on the lot at the time, had to intervene between Del Toro and Harvey Weinstein. Dude,
Yeah,
that's interesting, man.
it is. It did happen. This is how I saw it. I read it. I don't know which one's the correct version of this,
Yeah.
but what I read was that during the Oscars, Titanic was winning all this stuff in '97. The Weinsteins were in the Oscars for Good Will Hunting, and they went up to James Cameron and told him, "Oh, it wasn't like a fight, but it was like, oh, we're so good for the business." And Cameron knew everything that had happened to Guillermo del Toro, and he started talking to him about that, and it got heated. Supposedly, he almost hit him with one of his Oscars. That's what I read also. So, the stories are all there. There's another story that relates to this one that Mira Sorvino threatened to quit the movie
Oh shit.
because they were treating Guillermo so badly. Tarantino. So stepped in because he knew the Weinsteins, and everything calmed down, but they still took the movie from him in the editing room. So that's another thing that happened.
Dude, that's messed up, man. Like imagine an actor like you imagine like how badly he was treated for an actor to be like, you know what, fuck this, dude. The money's not worth it. Like that's messed up,
Mm.
man.
She got pulled an Oscar for a couple years, so she was at the height of her game right now in this era. So she had pull. So that's why she's like, if you guys don't come with this guy plus Quentin Tarantino telling them, then that's what kind of like left them alone. But then like they still took the movie from him in the editing room at the end of the shoot. So
Damn, dude. Well,
so
you know,
and lastly,
yeah.
let's talk about well, the Del Toro has referred to this period as one of his most painful experiences of his careers. I also read that in order to take away from the depression of filming the movie, he was reading a lot of Hellboy comic books, and that's kind of what inspired him to want to make the Hellboy movie too.
Dude, that's cool, man. I'm glad that at least he got that out of the way like at the very beginning, and I haven't heard if he's had any more experiences like that, which is good.
Hmm.
He just seems like the best dude. He seems very like a big teddy bear. I mean, everybody loves him. All the people that work with him just give him high praise, and he really is a visionary, man. So he deserves it best, and I'm glad he's no longer has to deal with that crap. But
Yeah.
let's jump into the director's cut, which is a 2011 release.
Yeah.
Apparently Del Toro, which I still got to find out which one I've seen. But apparently, Del Toro re edited the film 14 years later. The director's cut adds approximately 6 minutes of footage. And Del Toro has said if viewers are still unhappy with director's cut, at least he is entirely to blame.
Yeah. We also have that Roger Ebert gave the theatrical cut a 3.5 out of 4 stars. So that's actually, he liked it. One of the major critics to fully champion the film release at the time that it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we were, GC and I were talking before. Uh, we're not too sure which one he saw in that streaming service, but I have a feeling he might have seen the director's cut. I don't know if the theatrical is really being run around. It's probably outside of VHS and maybe DVD, for sure on Blu-ray. Since 2011, you can get the version I have, and I haven't seen the theatrical. I saw this movie in theaters in '97. And then I think I saw it maybe once or twice more on VHS or on cable or something like that. But since 2011, I've been watching the director's cut, so that's kind of like the one that I don't remember the differences anymore.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's safe to assume that I may have seen the director's cut just because a lot of these streaming services usually show like a lot of director's cuts, or they have like the last version of the film for the most part. I know Tubi's been very consistent with stuff like that. Like they've been amazing, dude. Like I've been enjoying their new additions to the libraries that they've have. They have phenomenal horror movies on there,
Oh
and they
man, to
had
be so good.
dude, it's amazing, man. And the fact that it's free, I mean,
Yeah.
I rather deal with the ads, dude. Honestly, like it reminds me of back growing up in the '90s and 2000s with the commercials. And they had all three movies of Mimic. So
Oh yeah.
if you want to have a full night of Mimic, there we go. You just don't
Yeah.
don't expect Del Toro in part 2 and 3, but still,
Yeah, I never bothered to watch 2 and 3. Once they go to the straight to videos, unless it's something
yeah.
like maybe Hellraiser that I've seen all even the straight to video ones. But with movies like this, the Species movies after part 2, I never watched any of the straight to video either. Like they don't interest me too much unless somebody writes does a review and goes, "Yo, you have to check this one out. It's actually really good." I'll check it out. But I haven't seen anybody say anything good about Mimic 2 and 3, so it'll continue to be on my not watch list.
Well, I will say this because obviously this episode is centered on the original Mimic. But I did see, I would say like 70% of part two. I just like, yes, I was watching it yesterday actually.
Oh.
Just because I was like, damn, I want to kind of see what happens and stuff. And if they bring any original legacy characters, which they do bring one. But seeing part two, it was okay. They try to replicate a lot of the magic from the first one. Like there's certain scenes there's one specific scene that you're going to be like, okay, that's a direct rip from the first one. They try to do it again. um and I haven't gotten to part three yet, which I've heard part three is actually pretty good. It's supposed, the premise for it is this guy that's a shutter and he lives in his apartment and just doesn't really come out, so he kind of just people watches through the window, which is a similar story to another horror movie of a woman that kind of lives in her home and just watches people out the window until she witnesses something weird. But part three is supposed to be like that, where he kind of starts noticing the creatures and this and that. So I'm excited to give it a chance. I've heard better things from part three than part two. So we'll see what that happens. Who knows, man? I mean, maybe one day we'll watch them and do a follow up episode just combining both. I mean, let us know too if that's something you're interested in or not.
Yeah, guys, are you gonna force me to watch 2 and 3? I'll do it. I'll do it for the show.
That's Lee loves you guys, man, because like he'll be willing to put himself through that, and I'll
Yes,
I'll finish part two
I
because
will
fuck.
watch the Garbage Pail Kids movie for you guys if I have to, or Troll 2
Oh God, that's how much we love you guys. But
for sure.
as much love as we have for you guys, let's talk about the love that went into this movie, and we're talking about budget. So we're gonna do some quick stats for you guys, for all the stats nerds out there. But yeah, this movie's budget was around $30 million, and
Mm.
it says here
Pretty.
the
I mean, it's high for. I mean, it's
yeah.
not bad for a creature feature in '97. That would be like what, like almost 90 today, or maybe like 75 or something.
Yeah, no, that's what I was about to say too. That the money back then too, 30 million was quite a lot. I mean, compared to what it is now. Um, and then the box office was 25.5 million, a financial disappointment.
Yeah, well, movies got to do about 2.5 in the box office because you
Yeah,
have to marketing, movie ticket price, theatrical, they keep about half the ticket, the money. So yeah, it should have made about, for them to come out clean and happy, they should have made about 90 to 85 worldwide. So
Yeah.
25.5, that's a pretty bad.
That's a kick in the crotch. That's for sure. Um, but yeah, dude, you wanna continue
Yeah.
with the yeah.
So the Rotten Tomato score at the time, and I'm sure they added, this is for the theatrical cut, is 61%. That's mixed to positive. It's based on a 1942 short by Donald William, published in Astonishing Stories. That sounds familiar. I think I really butchered his last name, by the way.
A
And
Wolheim, I think, or something like that.
Wolheim, yeah. And yeah, lastly, Doug Jones, who would become a Del Toro regular. He came out with Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy, and The Shape of Water. Plays one of the mimics in the film.
Dude, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Doug Jones. He's the water guy in Hellboy,
Yeah.
and I guess he played the water guy in The Shape of Water.
Dude, I just got the Shape of Water Blu-ray with the slip and everything for like 250 at the little used bookstore that I go to. And when I was down there, side topic, but I was getting an oil change earlier for a weekend trip, and I decided to pass by there because I was like 5 minutes from it, picked up a few things. But yeah, got Shape of Water and Pan's Labyrinth from there. So
Oh
um
yeah, those are. I mean, Pan's Labyrinth especially a great movie. Fun
yeah,
fact: that was my first ever Blu-ray I ever bought. So when I first
really.
switched from DVD to Blu-ray in 2006, 2007, I bought a PS3, the big box one. It was super expensive at the time. I was working for that damn thing, and I bought it with Mimic Blue. I mean, Pan's Labyrinth Blu-ray, which I still own. That same edition. That was my first Blu-ray ever. So yeah, that's crazy. And I do own Shape of Water also, but that one, obviously a lot later.
Yeah, dude. I was gonna say, I was like, man, I was like, you love Mimic. You bought it. That was the first Blu-ray. Because when you
Nah, nah.
when you messed it up there, I was like, oh, you love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You
No,
secretly.
yeah. Pan's Labyrinth was my first Blu-ray, so yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll always keep it, even if I upgrade it to 4K someday. I'll keep
Yeah,
that one just as my, just like Big Daddy was my first ever DVD. I always remember that.
dude. That was probably around my first VHS. Like the first movie I know. I can't remember the first DVD I got, but I remember the first VHS. I believe it was Independence Day. I want to say Independence Day.
Mm,
And it came with the cool like
yeah,
reflector thing that it
I
came
still
with.
have it.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to find. I never find it in the thrift stores or anything.
I
Just a
remember
VHS.
pre-ordering that one. Like, I would never pre-order movies, and I remember going to Blockbuster and pre-ordering the VHS for Independence Day,
Oh,
and probably paid
it,
like $15 for it at the time. And yes, same. My first VHS, I remember my first of each of them, and my first VHS was actually twins. It was bought by my parents, and back in 1990, as a it was used from a video called West Coast Video, if anybody remembers
I
that one.
remember. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to buy used movies there. They had bought me Twins, and then later on they bought me Home Alone. But VHS, when you have back in the day when you would have one, two, or three movies, you would watch those movies to death. So Twins to this day is probably the movie I've seen the most in my life. I used to watch that fucking movie every fucking day. So I've seen Twins like at least 400 times or something. It's crazy.
Dude, I that was Independence Day for me. I'm surprised that VHS still works. Um, but guys, let us know in the comments what was your first either VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, or 4K. Like, what's the first one that you bought that was like, hell yeah, I bought this. Like, I love it. And what kind of started you off? If you're collecting or you're just casually, collecting films, just let us know, man.
Yeah,
Um,
those are fun little facts. You know what's
yeah,
funny? I remember my first VHS in 1990. I remember my first DVD, Big Daddy in 99, and I remember Pan's Labyrinth in 2006. I don't freaking remember what the first 4K I bought. I don't know. I think it might have been the Magnificent Seven remake with Denzel, I think.
ooh,
But I always end up buying it's other outside of VHS. I always buy these movies before I buy the actual, because I remember I had Big Daddy and a couple of DVDs before I even bought my first DVD player.
shit, dude, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to think back of the first 4K that I got because, yeah, I can't remember. But
Yeah, it just wasn't a big deal for me, to be honest.
yeah,
Like, I mean, 4Ks look beautiful, they're nice, but just the jump from VHS to DVD was the biggest ever. And then the jump from DVD to Blu-ray was pretty nice and big. But the jump from Blu-ray to 4K wasn't exciting enough for me to, I guess, remember it as a core memory. I really don't. I think it was that one, but I can't remember it
Yeah.
specifically.
No, and now that we've given you guys an astonishing story of our collections, it's funny that you said it sounded familiar. I remember there was, I think it was either magazine or something like that, called Astonishing Stories. Dude, I feel
Mm,
that there was a show at one point.
yeah,
But that's why it sounds familiar.
yeah, I agree. It does. It sounds familiar to me too. Well, let's get into these characters. So once we get into these characters, we'll delve into a little bit more of the plot with you guys, and we'll talk about a little bit how we actually feel about good old Mimic.
Yeah, and I mean we're gonna start off with Mira Sorvino. She's kind of the heart in this movie. She plays Dr. Susan Tyler, and Lee talked about her a little bit earlier about her at that point in this film having some really good roles. She was just fresh off her Oscar win for Mighty Aphrodite from 1995. Lead entomologist, creator of the Judas Breed in this film, the moral and emotional center of the film. She's an Academy
Mhm.
Award winner from The Replacement Killers. But yeah, like I said, she's the heart of the movie. She is the scientist that creates that Judas Breed that we talked about. They shouldn't be messing with nature. But she's one of the stars. And then, Dee, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, and as we go with the cast, I do kind of want to give a quick little synopsis type thing because I feel like just in case you guys are coming off like, well, what did they do? It's basically there's this cockroaches that's carrying like a disease, and they basically her and her team like create something that what is it? They create an insect that kills all the cockroaches.
Yeah, yeah, it was a
But
Judas Breed.
right.
The
And
the
now this new breed of insects has only like their only predator is basically mankind, so they're out to kill us now and kill all of mankind.
Yeah, that's pretty much the premise, guys. We apologize if we kind of brushed over it, because I know normally we do give you a little synopsis, but this one's pretty much like an open and shut case situation. Like Lee said, there's a disease being spread, and it's only affecting kids, right? So
Yeah.
all these kids are sick and dying, and they show a pretty rough scene in the beginning of the film, opening
Hmm.
up to that where it's very crazy, like how they shot it. It looks really cool how they shot it, and then they create that breed that's supposed to kind of poison all the normal roaches, and then they were wired to be able to die off after a few months. So they were supposedly made to not be able to replicate. And I think they were all female, so there was no males supposedly.
Very
A-
Jurassic Park. Life finds a way.
yep, exactly, man, exactly. And then pretty much years later, Judas Breed has evolved into this mimic creature, and it's after us because he's upset with us because we exist.
Exactly. So outside of Mira, we got Jeremy Northam as Dr. Peter Mann. She plays Susan's husband. He's a CDC deputy director. Um, and we have a note that Del Toro has said Sorvino and Northam could not stand each other on set, which makes their married couple dynamic interesting to watch. See, I thought they were all right on the movie. Like I didn't notice that, but
Dude,
that's an interesting note.
they were so good together. Like to me, when I was watching it, and whenever they were affectionate or kissing, dude, I honestly believed that I was like, there's no way these guys didn't hook up or date or something. So that's kind of the Ryan Gosling situation from The Notebook with Rachel McAdams, where they hated each other. Um, Similar thing, man.
Hey man, they're good actors. They can fake
Yeah,
it. Like, so hey, good for them.
yeah,
It doesn't show, so that's good.
yeah. And I thought I recognized him. It didn't come till now, but yeah, dude, I remember seeing him in the net, the one with Sandra Bullock.
Oh yeah, the
Um,
computer one. Yeah,
and I haven't seen Gosford Park, so I don't know what that is.
I
Uh,
have. It's an interesting little movie. But it definitely I don't remember him in it.
yeah.
So
Dude, and then we have the great Josh
mm,
Brolin as
that's right.
Detective Leonard Norton, pre-stardom Brolin in a supporting role. I thought he did fantastic. No Country for Old Men, Sicario, Avengers, Infinity War, plays Thanos.
Goonies.
But yeah, I was gonna say most importantly, Goonies. Um, but then we have some like an interesting character in this film, a bit annoying at times, but a little familiar. We have Charles S. Dutton as Manny, the transit cop. arguably the most grounded and likable character in the film. I don't know about
Joke's on
that.
you, pal.
Yeah, he's in Aliens 3 and he's in 7, which is funny. Thinking about the style, like the rain and everything in this movie, but to
Mm.
me, there was moments he was likable, but then there was moments where it was just like, damn, this guy's annoying as shit. Um,
You know what's funny? We'll talk about it, but
yeah,
there's another character, there's two characters that I might have annoyed me more than him, and well, as I go with this, I'll say Giancarlo Giannini as Manny's father-in-law, Remy, brings a warm, almost fairy tale energetic to the film. He's from Hannibal and Casino Royale. I remember him very well from Hannibal because I recently rewatched all the Hannibal movies. He's an Italian actor, good actor. I did find him and the subplot with him and the kid. I wasn't too big on it. I found it. I understood why it was there in a way, but I wasn't too big on those characters either, to be honest. But we'll get into it.
dude,
Uh,
it's funny because he has my first name, and I remember watching the credits when it first started. I was like, holy shit, that guy has my name.
that's right, he does. He would be Gigi instead
Yeah,
of GC.
GG. Dude, and then we have the other actor, which is from a ton of stuff. I know he was in Breaking Bad and all that, Giancarlo Esposito. Um, but he also, it's funny. But anyway, I didn't know that Manny was a father-in-law of because his father-in-law for Remy. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Like in the
I
film.
don't remember that either, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, I didn't catch that. But that's pretty cool. I thought he reminded me of Pinocchio's dad.
Yeah,
Like
that's basically what he is, right? And then he has Pinocchio there, freaking
the little
always looking
boy.
out his freaking window the whole movie.
Yeah. And then we have F. Murray Abraham as Dr. Gates, CDC chief, disappears early. He was in Amadeus, Scarface.
Yeah, great actor.
Wasn't he in was it The Hills Have Eyes? Or no, not The Hills Have Eyes, I'm sorry. The Haunting of Hill House, or one of, I forgot which movie it was. He was
Oh
like
no,
the rich guy.
he looks like that guy.
Oh,
He
that's not
looks
him?
no, that's not him. You're thinking about the haunting. Yeah, the first Dark Castle movie. Um,
Oh.
yeah, he looks like a Matt. The actor you're thinking about is the guy from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh
He's
shit,
the one
dude.
that's in that movie.
You're
But yeah, they
right.
do look alike. They look alike. So I totally get why you would think so. Cause yeah, and then but let's not forget your favorite actor in this movie, Norman Reedus as Jeremy. You
Dude,
blink and you
hell
miss
yeah.
him. He's in the role. He's a small role. Guillermo del Toro would bring him back in Blade 2, by the way. And years before The Walking Dead for sure.
Yeah, that was babyface Norman Reedus, dude. Like at first, I saw him from the corner. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I recognize that guy, and he always plays the same character. Like he's just this like mouthy, like smart
Yeah.
ass, like cool guy. Um, but dude, I'm realizing isn't F. Murray Abraham in 13 Ghosts?
Yeah. I think
He's the
that's the one.
right. That's the one.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go.
Yeah, so different Dark Castle
Yeah,
production, but there you go. See, but
yeah,
he does kind of look like the guy from Pirates and
yeah.
Haunting on Hill House. So
And then we did talk about Doug Jones
yeah,
as the mimic creature, creature performer, Del Toro's go-to collaborator for decades to come. Um, but that, and besides the little boy that that played he played Manny, and he no, not Manny, I'm sorry, I forgot his name, dude, and he had like a very odd name.
the
Um,
little boy.
yeah, do you remember his name?
No, I don't, but I can look it up because yeah, I mean his name is Chewy, something like that. Chewy,
Chewie. There we go. I was like, I was thinking, I was like from Star Wars. I knew it had something to do with that.
played by
Chewie, yeah.
Alexander Goodwin, which really I guess he was in some other movies, but I'm looking at IMDb. He's got like 4 credits. This might have been one movie after this one, Illuminata, and that's it. He
Yeah.
retired. It happens with child actors a lot. So
Yeah. He did a great job though, honestly, like playing an autistic like kid, like young kid. He did a pretty great job with the role. Um I didn't I thought the spoon thing was interesting and all that, like the whole mimicking the
oh
mimic.
yeah,
And he was just like the whole thing with the shoes, how he would memorize the shoes. I thought that was interesting. But I mean, I'm always impressed when I see a child actor do it really well because again, they're kids in the end of the day. So to have that focus and concentration
yeah.
to
I mean, I agree with. He was a good actor. I mean, I'm not bashing on the poor kid, but I do feel like this movie didn't need kids. The only kids that maybe is the kids that bring her the roach and stuff, because that's something quick, and I can see
Yeah,
kids messing around the subway, finding things. Oh, we know this bug lady. We're gonna sell it to her. But I think that was enough with the kids. Like I didn't need the little subplot with the kid. But
yeah.
you know, it was. I guess that was just me.
Lee hates kids, guys. No, I'm kidding. No, yeah, it's true. I mean, it's one of those where you know, like there's so many subplots in a film sometimes that it could kind of be a little much. Because the movie definitely doesn't feel short. At least it didn't for me. Um, and then
No,
speaking of,
it's. Mhm.
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I agree. I agree.
Now, speaking of the film, the first impressions, the versions, again, guys, I think it's safe to say that we've seen after this conversation, we've both seen the director's cut. Um, as far as for which felt more like Del Toro, I mean, that's the only one I've seen, and it felt like Del Toro. I mean, there was moments where it slightly didn't, but for the most part, I was like, holy shit! I was like very impressed seeing that this was his one of his first or no his second movie that he had done or something like that. Like it was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about especially for you that you hadn't seen it in a really long time, like since you said like 2002 or something like that. So let's go with your first watch versus your rewatch. Does knowing the creature design change how you experience the early scenes, or that didn't matter?
Dude, I forgot what the creature looked like. I remembered a lot about the film except the creature. Like I remembered the creature had that kind of like mask to mimic humans,
Hmm.
but I couldn't remember that it was like a giant bug. So seeing that like the film did good for the most of the film where it keeps you kind of guessing if it's like a humanoid type creature or something like that up until towards the end where you actually see they're just giant bugs. Kind of wish they would have kept that towards all the way to the end, especially with the shitty effects. But for the most part, yeah, rewatching it, I was like, huh, okay. Besides CGI not keeping up that much, I thought it was yeah, like the first experience. It was like compared to the first experience, I was like, yeah, this was pretty cool. Like it felt like a first experience all over again.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, I mean, same thing. I don't remember theatrical too much. I think on rewatch, I will say this. This is what I'll say. Uh, I always liked this movie. I must have liked the theatrical because I liked it enough to eventually buy it, and I did watch the theatrical in theaters. But this is one. And talking about the Jordan Peele movies, talking about
Yeah.
rewatching movies, very rarely do I rewatch a movie and like it less. And I think this has been one of those movies that, as the years have progressed, every time I watch it, I like it a little less, and that sucks. But it's very rare. But this is one. I'm not saying I hate this movie. I still like it, but it just doesn't. There's characters I don't like in it. The plot isn't really that interesting, and I have no problem with a movie being 3 hours, 3.5. I love long movies. This movie's not that long, but it feels kind of long, and that's
Yeah.
because the pacing is not great. Now, I don't know if Guillermo del Toro really recut this whole movie. He had to actually use a lot of the footage from theatrical. I'm sure he didn't have like a whole new movie to recut. Maybe he tried to pace it differently. Maybe I don't know what he did. That's because I haven't seen the theatrical in so long. But I don't love this movie anymore, and I used to. So that's what I'll say about my rewatch of it. I still think it's pretty good, and I might rewatch it eventually again, but not anytime soon. I have no no hurry to watch it again.
See, damn, dude, because I mean, this is my second time watching it compared to when I was younger, and dude, like I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would have to rewatch it again, maybe next year or like in the future, and see how I feel about it. But definitely really enjoyed, and I won't give away too much yet. But for me, I was like, damn, this is kind of cool. Like besides the cop, like there was being little moments where he annoyed me. I was like, okay, this is cool. Um, but
Yeah.
dude, I mean, as now let's talk about the central dramatic irony in this film, right? The Judas Breed. I mean, it was engineered to die and it chose not to. How does that land for you? Like as far as for the plot, did you feel it like it was believable or it was
Yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, it sounds a little Jurassic Parky with
yeah,
how life finds a way, but But no, I believe it was written that way even in Jurassic Park because it's true. I mean, nature finds a way to survive. So I was totally okay with the plot as far as there's this thing killing kids and they're trying to find the fastest way. Sometimes when you're in a hurry to find
Yeah.
something to cure people, you don't test it enough to know if it might what might come from it in the future. So I do think the plot is not bad and it's not really a bad story, but that landed for me just fine. I
Did you,
like that.
did you feel like it was believable? Like you felt like, oh, this is something that would happen for sure in this day and age?
Well, I mean, it's a creature feature. What's believable is that maybe there's something that you can get a cure for something, and then it ends up giving you something else.
Yeah.
Is it believable that these creatures will become super big and look like humans and kill us? Probably not, but it's a creature feature, so that's totally
Yeah.
okay. I love the over the topness of that.
Now, I wanted to ask you, dude, about like when you were watching this movie, especially rewatching it recently and knowing that it was a Del Toro movie. Did it feel like a Del Toro film to you, or it was kind of like? Did you feel like there was some restraint?
That's a good question. I always knew this was a Del Toro movie. This is the movie that introduced me to Guillermo del Toro. So I always kind of, after that, and then being excited for him doing Blade 2 and
Yeah.
Hellboy and Pan's Labyrinth, all that stuff. I've been a fan of his. There's some of his movies don't land for me. But that's a whole other episode. But I do feel like there's his fingerprints are definitely on this thing, and it does. He loves all this type of dark creature stuff.
Yeah.
So it does feel like him. Uh, do I think that if he would have had full control, maybe we would have had a better movie? Probably, but I guess we'll never know. I mean, the most he could do is re-edit it a little bit, but that's not going to be enough for him to really save the movie.
No, it's funny they said dark type of like films because, I mean, that's what this is, right? Like it's like that dark, wet, cluttered spaces, like Del Toro style, and he's described his obsession with insects and clockwork monsters, dark places, unborn things. Um,
Yeah.
where you see a lot of it like in this movie in Mimic.
hmm Yeah, that's his thing. He does that. He does it. He added it with Hellboy and doing movies like even The Shape of Water has a
Yeah.
lot of it's a dark movie with it's like a romance, right? But it's like this dark romance with creatures in it. A woman falling in love with a sea creature. It's pretty weird, but that's his style. So
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely fits in his film canon for sure.
Well, I want to ask you this. So the subway tunnels, like as gothic underworld type style, do you think they compare to Chronos or even Pan's Labyrinth? Like, is this recognizable or is it recognizably the same director to you? Because I haven't seen Chronos. Um, so to me, it reminds me of Pan's Labyrinth a bit, the darkness and the wetness. But what about you?
Yeah, I think so. The only thing I will say, and I didn't have to look it up, but I still looked it up. This movie was filmed all 100% in Canada. It doesn't feel like the only thing about that's another thing I didn't like too much. The subway scenes, it didn't feel like New York to me, and there it felt like a lot of backlash shootings. Uh, I love the fact that there's a lot of practical stuff for sure that I love,
Yeah.
but I did feel like the locations felt a little fake. It felt a little backlot, a little like I said, it just didn't feel like really New York. The subways themselves even just didn't hit me as authentic as it should. So I mean that happens, with budget restraints and stuff. Like you got to shoot in Canada, and sometimes people do a really good job. I think the production design wasn't as good as it could have been, but it definitely does feel like his fingerprints are on it, and that darkness, like you said, it feels Del Toro to me.
Well, dude, let's jump into like because we were talking about this a little earlier in the episode. We are talking about like color, like the lighting sometimes felt a little dark. Um, do you feel like that was Guillermo del Toro's intention for like the visuals of the film? Or do you feel like that was like during those a lot of those overly dark scenes and stuff like that? Do you feel like it was kind of like a studio type interference for the movie?
That's hard to tell. I couldn't know for sure what was going on behind. I mean, we all know that there was a lot of problems, but did that
Yeah.
have to do with the cinematographer that he chose and the shots that he chose and why was it so dark in some parts? It wasn't as bad. I think the darkest movie I ever seen is AVP 2 Requiem. That movie I saw it in theaters and I thought the projector had a problem and then when I finally watched it at home, like I can't you can never see the alien mixed with a predator. Like you
Yeah.
can't that movie's so dark, it's terrible. This is not as bad, but it definitely is a little too dark sometimes. So I don't know. What do you think about that? Because I'm just I couldn't tell if it would be his fault or if that was a Weinstein thing.
Dude, I mean, I can't think of seeing his movies. I can't think of another movie of his that I've seen that it's has too dark scenes, like it's too dark to see and stuff like that. I mean, he obviously does love to play with that type of environment, but it's hard because I don't know if it's because the beginning of his career that maybe he made that mistake and went a little too dark, or if it was like an editing issue. I've had to see the KL, like the 4K, and come and see if how that looks. That would be an interesting thing, and if that kind of looks the same, then at least we know maybe it's not also the format that it was released on, but it could just be in general, like just
Yeah.
that itself, like either interference or just being young and still getting used to everything.
Yeah, I mean, when you're starting off in Hollywood, sometimes you don't have the power to really
Yeah.
choose who's gonna be your team. You know, behind the scenes, they might pick the cinematographer for you. There might be other things in place. So yeah, I mean, that's a good point that you made, though. None of his other movies really are that, even because he has a lot of movies that are
Yeah.
dark. The first Hellboy has a lot of scenes in the rain and the dark, and they look fine. As far as I can remember, Pan's Labyrinth, very dark, looks fine. So yeah, it probably has a little bit to do with that background issues that they had in the with the Weinstein. So who knows? But let me ask you about the creatures themselves.
Yeah.
Designed to look, they designed to fold their wings to look like trench coated humans from a distance. How effective is that in the reveal on screen?
Dude, I mean, for me, it was pretty cool. Like, it honestly looks like a like straight up trench coat and everything. It looked like a human from, like, it was just so fucking cool, dude. I know when I saw them from each corner and all that, I was like, oh shit. Like, I expected them because I forgot what they looked like. I was
Hmm.
expecting them to be some humanoid hybrid or something until obviously the reveal. Um, I thought that was pretty brilliant. Like the design of that. I mean, we'll get more into that a little later, but I thought that was pretty brilliant the way they that camouflage type situation.
Yeah, I agree. I actually like the design a lot, and it's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty unique, and it's like, oh, making these creatures and looks like a trench coat thing, and
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. I did like that. And with the rain and the darkness, maybe even in real life, especially in a city like New York, people aren't paying as much attention to everybody. They could get away with it more. Um, but the director Alfonso Cuarón said the Del Toro shots are almost like mathematical. Everything is planned. So do you see that in the precision and mimic, or do you think the Weinsteins kind of sand that down?
I see a lot of it. I see a lot of that precision with the camera panning. I mean, specifically that one scene where that priest is going through the alleyway and it's like raining and it's just very beautifully shot. And you just see the way the camera angles, the way he falls into that scaffold thing.
Hmm.
Like I don't know. I saw a lot of that calculation from Del Toro. Like he's one of those people where he's very precise. He's not gonna just brush over it just to get it done. Like to him, it's like this is my work, my life's work, and we're gonna get it done right, and until it feels right. But what about you? Like, how'd you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, of course, there's this. I don't know. It's so hard to know what this movie would have been if he would have had, like, you
Yeah,
know, all the things he wanted to have. But I still think, like, for especially being his first few films, his first American film, I think it works pretty well, and I think his fingerprints are on it. So yeah, I think it's there. Probably not as much as he would like, but
yeah.
it's definitely there.
Well, a little side topic I want to ask you: if Del Toro today was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do a remake of Mimic," how would you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, 30 years is a decent enough time to. I mean, we've had remakes come out way sooner than that. A director directing his own remake, always thought it's happened before, and I always found that to be weird. But I think in this case, it's a little more justifiable just because he didn't really get to make the movie he wanted. So,
Yeah,
if I'm sure he would even rewrite a lot of the script and stuff. So that'd be interesting. Maybe as even what, I'd even be okay with it if he did it just like for streaming or something. Just so that it doesn't no
yeah,
theatrical. Just let me just do my actual what I really wanted to do 30 years ago. Like, and he's been doing stuff with Netflix anyway, so like, why not just release it
yeah,
straight to Netflix? Maybe have a limited theatrical, and just to kind of give the fans like his true vision of it. I'll be down with it.
yeah, man. Just get that unfulfilled. job done. It's just it's like he could finally rest. He's like, yeah, I can retire now. I completed Mimic.
Yeah, he,
uh,
he could do that for Netflix and stop making so many Netflix movies. Because
yeah.
honestly, that Frankenstein movie cinematography is so beautiful. I would have loved to have seen that in IMAX or in a big screen and not on Netflix. I know it did get like a small little theatrical in certain movie theaters, but at my local stuff, I like AMC didn't have it or nothing, so I wasn't able to see it in theaters. And
Yeah.
I wish he would go back to fully theatrical, but
Yeah,
happens.
man. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about the creature design. It's generally genuinely unsettling. But do you think it's more effective when it's hidden or when it's fully revealed?
Hidden. I mean, I do think it's a little bit more effective when it's hidden. Like we were
Yeah.
talking about the trench coat thing. He's walking. This kid keeps seeing him from the windows. You don't know exactly what he. When they finally reveal him, he looks fine. Like I think the design is good, and I love the practical effects of it. But I for that question, I'd say hidden. What about you?
No, same here. I mean, I think a lot of the times horror movies work well when the creature's hidden, just because it builds that suspense. You're just wondering. I mean, and it goes to show. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street, right? The first Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy for the most part is hidden, and it's
Yeah.
just you just hear the nails and all that stuff. And like I feel like the remake that they did, if they would have kept them more hidden as well, like or even throughout most of the like entire movie, like that would have been phenomenal. But it's just some examples of how it really works. I think this movie, if they would have waited more to the very, very end, it would have been way more impactful because it's just one of those like, hey, in the last 10, 15 minutes, surprise. Like here's this creature. And build up to it. And just I don't know. It's just especially being underground like that in those dark tunnels and you're hearing all these clicking sounds and you're seeing all these shadows and all these movements, but the fact that you can't see it and you're just kind of seeing the shadows, you're like, holy shit, like what's gonna get us? Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
especially with CGI, man. Like I was
Hmm.
like, it wasn't. I mean, I've seen worse, but like I was like, shit. Like there was two key moments. I was like, come on, man. Like I know this was filmed back in the '90s, but shit. Like, but then there was some practical effects that were just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. The mixture of the time. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. The practical stuff still works. Some of the CGI stuff is pretty bad.
Now I want to talk a little bit more about this creature, right? Like the Judas Breed concept. Genetically engineered insect that mimics cockroaches, infects them, kills them, then dies. Except it doesn't. The real horror here is the unintended consequences that we talked about, like playing God with genetics, Jurassic Park style. Do you think the film does do enough with that idea, or does it drop it too quickly once the creatures show up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely. I think it just wants to have that very action second half finale when they get stuck underground. It does slow a little bit. They try to talk a little bit when they're stuck inside the subway cart. But I mean, I think it's balanced, pretty decent. I think with a movie like this, it's a fun creature feature. You gotta have action and some creature fun and things where they're fighting the creatures. I mean, I understood why it wasn't the type of movie that needed to go too deep with its actual plot and didn't have to get too scientific and too realistic. It's a creature feature. It has to be fun. So
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. You
That's
thought they should have added more?
no, I mean, they kind of already. I mean, I think Del Toro kind of sprinkled it throughout because that's the thing, though. It's like, see, to me, this movie didn't feel so much like a creature feature. It felt more like a moral type film. And especially coming from somebody like Del Toro, right? Because we have so many creature features out there, like The Fly, Species, stuff like that. Um, Obviously Jurassic Park as well. But with this one, it really did feel, I mean, especially with the plot, right? With the cockroach disease angle, like Strickler's disease killing Manhattan kids. Um, it's one of those where it's letting you know it's like, oh, the worst thing that could happen is like kids getting sick and dying. And it tackles that right off the bat. It's like, oh, we need to come up with something in the next few months, like quick. Like let's just do it. There's no testing, there's nothing. We just have to save these kids. And it goes to show it's like, should we be interfering with that? And then it continues on because I think at one point when, like you said, when they're trapped in a subway cart and they're having conversations, they're like talking about like what could happen, why they mutated, and I think finding like the mail and all that stuff. And I think it was
Mm.
Manny that says, he's like, well, why would you do this? Like, why would you? And then I think it was also the Italian gentleman, that wasn't like that was the guardian of the little boy, that he starts freaking out because he's like, why would you play God? And he starts flipping out and stuff.
Yeah, but the
Um,
reality is, if they hadn't, there's a good chance that his kid would have been dead even before, because
oh yeah,
the kids were dying from it. So it's a lose lose type of situation sometimes.
it is, man.
But
It really is. It's
yeah,
hard,
and
but
that kind of goes to, I want to ask you about the opening of the movie with the whole
yeah.
genuine public health crisis. Did that grounded the setup make the creature horror land harder, or did it feel like two different movies stitched together for you?
No, I think it was good. Like I think, I mean, it went hand in hand because then what would be the point of creating those creatures? You know, I mean, I thought it was great. Um, I think the only underdeveloped part of that story, it's like the Strickler's disease. Like where I wish they would have shown more. Like it just starts off with a bang right off the bat. It's like all these kids are dying. We need to figure it out, and then boom, you know, a few years later. It
Yeah,
would have
it's
been
like a
interesting.
5 minute intro that
Yeah,
they show the cockroaches dying. After when they do it, it's like a quick little montage, and then
yeah.
yeah,
Like it doesn't specifically explain. It's like, okay, how do these roaches get this disease, and like where it's the origin of the disease, and how did it spread so quickly, and why was it only kids? Were the roaches biting kids and giving it to them? Was it like, and like were they breathing in like whatever chemical they were releasing or whatnot?
yeah. But that's
Like
why to
little,
me this is more of a creature feature. I think it just tries to
yeah,
jump into, let's go with the fun part and not get too, like, it's not like the movie Outbreak type of thing where it's more serious and you're trying to get down
oh,
to
yeah,
this one. For me, that's why I think it does it. You're right though; it could have gone the other way. It would have been a totally different movie,
yeah.
Contagion style, But this is more
Oh,
like fun,
that's a good one. I
trying to
love
be
those.
fun.
Dude, I was watching those movies during 2020. I was like, fuck yeah. But um talking about comparing to other science gone wrong horror movies, right? Like we talked about The Fly, Species, Splice. Where does Mimic sit in that type of subgenre? Like do you think it belongs there? Do you think it does good with the comparing to those other classics?
I think it sits there, but I do feel like out of the ones you mentioned, it's last for me. I like The
Yeah.
Fly better. I like Species better. I even like Splice better. Not huge on Splice, but I've seen that one at least. Like, I've seen that
Yeah.
movie like 3 times. It's not a bad movie. It gets a little weird with the
Yeah.
girl falling in love with the guy and having sex with him. It gets a little weird, but I mean, especially The Fly and Species. I mean, Species came out the year before this. That we were getting a good amount of creature features in the late '90s, with Mimic and Species and The Relic, and there's a few more I can't remember, but it was a fun time if you liked creature features. But I do feel like this one is now for me more at the bottom than if you would have asked me a couple years ago. I would have put it more towards like maybe the middle, with probably The Fly being the best one, and maybe The Blob also I love.
Yeah.
But Species was great too, and I think that movie holds up really well. I actually did rewatch that one last year, and I was surprised at my crappy Blu-ray of it because it was like one of the first Blu-rays out. Really looked pretty damn good still, because I was thinking of buying the 4K shout, and I still might, but it still looks good and it's a fun movie. I think that one definitely goes straight for the fun. It doesn't try to get anything but what it actually is, and I enjoy it more. But this isn't about Species. But yeah, I think it's part of the genre, holds up decently well, but it's not as good for me as it used to be.
Yeah.
For you?
No, I think it holds up well, man. Like I mean, like I said like earlier, I definitely enjoyed it, and I like I love science, man. And I love when it's when they make movies that could possibly happen. I mean, we reverse engineer stuff all the time, and all that, bring species back from extinction. I mean, so it's one of those kind of like, and like it felt a little realistic for me. I was like, damn, I mean, I could see it happening. I mean, maybe not to that crazy extent, but then you never know, man. We live in such a crazy times now with technology and all that, that God knows what they're engineering. Um, but yeah, I mean, overall, I think it holds up pretty well. I mean, I'll tell you once I watch it again, and we'll see. we'll
Yeah.
follow up and be like, does it still hold up? I'm like, maybe, or maybe I'll be like, no, fuck it. But
Yeah.
um, but let's jump into the scares, tension, and subway segment. Um, which scenes generally build tension for you, and which fall flat?
Mm. Well, damn. I don't know. I think for me, when they're in that subway cart at the end, I think the tension's well built. They're stuck under there. They're like fighting with each other. They're trying to figure things out. They start putting like one of the dead bugs like slime all over themselves, so the bugs won't smell them and stuff like that. I thought that was good. What fell flat? Just a lot of the tension stuff with the kid, him going missing, and just him and his dad. The whole thing kind of for me fell a little flat. I didn't feel like they were characters that needed. If you cut them out for me, I don't. I think it would make a big difference, and it'd be nice. The movie would probably flow a little better at about an hour 40, an hour 45 instead of almost 2 hours. But yeah, those are the two that come to mind for me.
Yeah. Um, I think the one that built pretty good tension for me was with Josh Brolin, where he's trying to get on top of that. He's trying to escape when they're
Where he
underground.
dies, right?
Yeah, when he dies, and he's like he keeps slipping in that scene where he keeps showing his shoes like slipping off that little sewing machine, and I was just like, come on, man, come on, reach the damn cord. I think that one really
Mm.
got me well. I think the one that felt flat was kind of where the priest, like in the beginning, where he kind of just falls off the scaffold thing and just breaks his neck on the paint can. I felt kind of like that. I
Mm.
was like, damn, all that to just fall and break your neck. Like you're trying to escape this thing. And I mean, I thought it was really cool, but at the same time, I was like, man, that or with the little boy when he's standing there and then the two mimics start walking towards him and then the screen goes black. Um, I thought it was okay. Like it kind of like you see that one mimic and you're like the tension's built, but then the other mimic shows up and you're like, holy shit, there's two. And then after that, I was like, fuck, like they should have left it at one and like more until towards the end because I felt like I was like, that's kind of cool that there's only like one. Um, but yeah, man.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I mean that with a little flat for me too was just the ending, the way that this guy they show him blowing up all these because there's like he blows up all these mimics, which her boyfriend or whatever, Jeremy Northam, but then there's like a cut where he's sparking it and everything blows up. So you think he blows up, but then there's a quick cut of someone falling into like the water. You don't even know if it's him. And then later on he comes out and he's alive and you realize, oh, that person you saw in the water was him. It's just the edit is a little messed up. And as we know, there was a lot of editing problems. So
yeah.
yeah, that I thought was kind of flat and not very good.
Except when he drops that lighter, I was like, son of a bitch, of course. So then I started thinking, I was like, how the hell is he gonna pull this off? Like I started thinking, is he gonna go in there and get it? Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, man, that was one of those like I was not expecting him to survive. I thought he was gonna sacrifice himself for his baby because obviously you find out I think towards the end of the film that she ends up him and his wife they were trying to get pregnant through most of the movie and I was another plot that felt a little flat for me which was very interesting was the whole pregnancy thing. And the reason I mentioned that is because they were having trouble getting pregnant and there's just a point in the beginning of the film with one of the roaches like stings her or bites her or whatever in her hand. Um, and it was when the two boys bring her that roach and she sticks her hand in the box and it bites her. And then
Yeah.
a little bit after, she's doing the testing and then they find out that she's pregnant. And then that mimic was like after her. So I started thinking during that time, I was like, did she get pregnant because like somehow when she was bit, her DNA is being modified so the baby's gonna end up being a creature or something, and that's why the mimic's after her, or is the mimic after her because it knows that that's his creator? Like that's this type of stuff I started thinking. So I felt like that plot with the whole getting pregnant, um, it kind of had me a little bit confused at times, like at
Yeah.
least on two occasions. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me as far as for like the tension and like the falling flat and all that stuff. I mean, everything else I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, and we already talked about tunnels being unsettling, claustrophobic. But I mean, do you think they used the tunnels? And I already said I didn't like it, but did the way they shot the tunnel stuff and the subway stuff. Did you when you answered that, you enjoyed that, or?
I loved it, man. I love the fact that they had those old, like that old tailor business underground and the armory and everything, because that is part of history. Like it is a part of New York history and other big cities. There's, um, you know, old type establishments underground that people forget about, and they kind of just block them off, and that's it. And they're kind of just sitting there, you know, in the test of time. I mean, you even see at one point Josh in the film, he finds that newspaper from like the 1940s. I think it was like 1941 or 42, and he just picks it up and he's looking at it and all that stuff. And I was like, damn, that's so cool, man. And just me, because I love history, so seeing all that, and I've always wanted to be able to see that in person, but obviously for health reasons and all that, and for safety, they don't allow you to do that. But that was just very cool to see all that stuff sitting there abandoned in time. um yeah,
Yeah,
man.
the underground stuff is better for sure than the actual, you know,
Yeah,
subways. That's what I really didn't like. Like it just didn't feel like New York to me. It felt very much. I've never been to Canada, but it didn't feel like New York. That's for sure.
yeah,
Um, but the underground stuff, like the what stuff you were saying now, it's that stuff's cooler. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
Well, now we did talk about this a little bit, the folded wing type humanoid
Yeah.
design, like that silhouette moment. When does the film earn its creature reveal to you?
Where does it earn it? I think it's fine where when they finally reveal it. Like I think they take their time. That doesn't reveal it right away. So I do like the fact that you kind of see the behind the scenes of him, you know, with the silhouette and trench coat looking thing, and then later on they finally reveal it. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't remember that well. But yeah, that's I think it's fine the way it is as far as reveal, like fully reveal, because it's pretty dark, so you don't see him that great throughout the
Yeah,
whole movie, anyways.
yeah. I like the fact that they focused a lot on like the mask portion of it, but from a distance where you could not really fully make it out, but then you do. And I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I think for me the closest to like the actual reveal was when Chewie was in that church, and then you see a blurred version of the creature up close to him, like the first mimic, and then obviously you see the one behind him, but then that first one standing there as close as it was, I was like, okay, now we're starting to reveal a lot more.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty cool. But the
And
child's
it's
oh no, go ahead.
no go. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the child's character early in the film. I know you. I we kind of know your answer, but I'm gonna ask you anyway, just to confirm it. The effective emotional stakes are just a setup.
Yeah, just a setup, just to add to,
Yeah,
especially with her at the end with the kid and how she saves them, and it has to do with her wanting to be a mother. I get it, but I just didn't need it.
yeah. I mean,
You-
because even at the end, like it's like she ends up pregnant and stuff, and then I want to assume that they adopt the kid because obviously he has no more family
Yeah,
left. And then he's hugging them as well and stuff, and he even made like the
yeah,
little wire design of that guy. So I'm assuming he's like his new papa. Um,
that's
but
right.
dude, let's
Yeah,
talk. No, go ahead.
no, yeah. I mean, I agree. I think it's kind of like, I guess it'll be funny. That all right, kid, we'll throw you in one of those homes. We got our own kid coming.
Dude, I thought about that for a second when they're like hugging and stuff, and then it goes dark. But then it's like after that scene, they're like, "All right, kid, we're dropping you off," and he's
Yeah.
like, "No, funny shoes."
So
um,
jump scares versus sustained dread. Sustained dread. I got a little tongue tied there. What does Mimic rely on more, and what works better for you?
I like the sustained dread. I think, I mean, jump scares sometimes can be a little cheesy, but I think the dread of the sound of the creature, you just hearing it and know it's around and stuff, and seeing the shadow. I think they did a great job with that. I mean, for me, I thought it was creepy. I was like, man, imagine you're just walking down an alleyway, and it's for some reason it's always raining throughout majority, like the entirety of the film, and you're
Mhm.
just that's all you hear is that, and you're like, fuck, like what is that? That's not normal.
Yeah. No, I agree. Same. Yeah. I mean, I think jump scares can be effective in certain movies, even movies like this. But I do believe the sustained dread was the way to go, and I enjoyed it better.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a single scene in the movie that you put up against Del Toro's work, his best work, like from Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, or
Dude,
Pacific Rim, your favorite one?
oh, I love that one. Um, dude, I don't remember Hellboy that much. I only saw it once. Don't really remember much. So I would have to revisit Pan's Labyrinth. Um, it reminded me more of Pan's Labyrinth because of the like the dark and all that stuff. But I can't think of a specific scene that I could put up against one of those because that's the thing. There's a reason why Pan's Labyrinth is in the Criterion Collection, um, and this one isn't. So the only thing I do want to say is that the creature design, like as far as for like the smaller creatures, like the one that Norman Reedus finds in the water, and they open it up, I thought that was cool
Mm.
as shit. Like it looked really really good.
Yeah,
The
that's a good one.
bugs, yeah, the bugs themselves look fantastic. I mean, I could say that that design in general I could put up with some of his other films as like even in his early years, like crushing it. Um, except for the CGI, but the idea of it I thought was really great. Um, but what about you?
No.
No.
No, I wouldn't put it up against. I mean, I'm a fan of the Hellboy movies, especially Hellboy 2. I actually think Hellboy 2 is pretty awesome. I love how he really changed Hellboy 1 to 2, very different movies. And I enjoy the second one. I wouldn't put it. I'm not saying it's bad, but I can't think of a scene that is like, oh, this is better than what I've seen before in any of his other movies. Um, Funny story, I kind of like Mimic Pacific Rim is another one that on rewatches I haven't really enjoyed that much, and I just feel like it's a little too much, too much chaos, too much Godzilla-ish action. Not for me that much anymore. But so I say I maybe will stand with that one as far as which one.
Yeah.
But the ones that are mentioned, no, I wouldn't put it up with any scene against it. I think those movies are much superior.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, I think you said it perfectly. Like there's like I mean, even though those movies are more already later on with more experience and stuff, I mean, there's a reason why they're so beloved by the fans. And again, Pan's Labyrinth is in the Criterion Collection for a reason. And I mean, I know especially for a lot of Criterion lovers out there like us, I mean, it's such a great movie. I mean, and even though this movie has a big moral story behind it, at the same time, it's sometimes when you want to make something and it's like either a moral story or a creature feature or something, sometimes you could blend it properly, but then there's times where the movie loses its identity a little bit, battling between the two. It
Yeah.
starts off as a moral type film. It's like save kids, do this and that. And then it starts turning into that creature feature. And it's kind of towards the end, you're left with there's still some talk about moral compass, but then it's more of like, oh, creature feature, but yeah. Um, Now, what's the scariest moment in the film for you? And does it belong to the creature, the situation, or something else?
Yeah, I wouldn't say scary, but I did like the scene. I thought when the kids are down there, the two kids, and they're looking for more bugs later on, and they get killed. I thought that was like taking out kids and stuff. Was
Yeah.
pretty crazy. So I think that scene worked, and I understand why it's there too. These kids they want to make some more money off these bugs, so they're gonna keep looking, and eventually they're gonna run into this crazy thing, this mimic. So I like that scene. I think that's that. If it was scary or not, I don't know. I didn't find any of the movie scary, but it's effective that scene. So I like that one. What about you?
Man, I think that scene to me probably was the scariest, and the reason why it's like you said it, man. Like with dealing with kids, like the way those kids died was so damn brutal.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, you see the priest in the beginning of the film get sucked into that drain, and like all his bones being broken as he's being jammed in there. Um, that was pretty brutal too. But damn, that kid, especially the second kid, when that creature just jumped on him, you hear him screaming while this freaking creature is wailing at him. Like that shit was brutal, man. Like I was like, oh,
Yeah.
dude, oh man. Especially when they see it across, like from where they're standing. I was like, dude, that's some scary shit. Imagine being a kid and seeing that, and it's like then your friend just gets impaled and picked up in front of you. It's like, what do? You just shit yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's effective. It's a good scene. So let's move on to the performances, the characters a little bit before we wrap this up. Mira Sorvino, she was Oscar winning. playing a scientist turned final girl. Does the script give her enough to work with? Does she elevate the material? Did you enjoy her performance?
Yes, yes, and yes. No, I mean, I thought she did great, man. Honestly, I thought she did great. Um, I feel like a lot of times in movies, they try, like at least in this day and age, they try to make a lot of the main characters like really hot and stuff. And not saying that she's not like hot and beautiful and all that, but I like the fact that she brought that girl next door look to her and that believable look. I thought she did great, man. I thought this her that scene where she's standing in front of the mirror and pretending she's pregnant. I thought it was like a cute
Mm,
scene for her, and I thought like the way she was like holding her belly and all that, like she just seemed so believable. Um, yeah, overall, like I thought she did a great job. I thought she definitely. I couldn't think of somebody else taking out over that role, at least at the moment. What about you?
yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I'm a fan of Mira Sorvino. Unfortunately, she didn't like, she had her moment there in the mid to late 90s, and then she kind of disappeared. I remember like loving her watching this her in this movie, watching The Replacement Killers with Chow Yun Fat. I love that movie. Growing up, not sure if it still holds up, but I enjoyed it. And seeing her in, even comedies like Romeo and Michelle, High School Reunion, stuff like that. So I think she's great in it, and yeah, she definitely works for the movie. She's perfect casting. I liked her.
Yeah, no, she did great. Um, but since we're talking about Sorvino, let's talk about the whole Sorvino Northam tension. They reported couldn't stand each other off camera. Does that friction, like we mentioned a little bit earlier, but does that
Yeah.
friction read on screen at all to you, and does it accidentally help or hurt their dynamic?
Yeah, like we spoke earlier, I at first I didn't even know about it until
Yeah,
now, and finding out didn't change anything for me because I didn't notice it while watching the movie. I thought they were fine together, so I think it worked. Good actors, move on from things like that. I mean, it's like look at like Tom Hardy and Charlie Theron, hated like really bad connection there in Mad Max Fury Road. That movie's fucking awesome, and they're
yeah,
great in it. So, uh, it doesn't always matter, man. You don't always have to have the chemistry when they yell cut. You just got to have the chemistry when they yell action, and that's what matters. So, and it worked.
yeah. No, I mean that's it goes to show how good they are. That I would have never in a million years suspected that at all, dude. Like I kept thinking throughout the whole movie. I was like, damn, they're very good with affection. Like even the little subtle affection they gave to each other in the film, I was just thinking to myself, damn, like they must be dating in real life or hooking up because yeah, you could obviously it's called acting, but there's a thing between acting and then just really sensing some type of connection. Um, like
Yeah.
especially that scene where she's sitting there in the bathroom on his lap and they're looking at the results and he's like gently kissing her and caressing her and stuff as they're waiting for it. Like that alone just felt so damn real. I was like, damn, dude, like that's they didn't have to have that there. They could have just been sitting there waiting in suspense and those little touches, which I'm sure they're Guillermo del Toro's like suggestions and all that because just he's very big on the little things, on selling
Yeah.
you the life and the story. But
Hmm.
let's see here because your favorite character Charles S. Dutton, played as Manny, broadly considered the emotional highlight of the film. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, no, I mean, you mean Giancarlo Giannini? He was Manny. Charles S. Dunton is the cop. He plays Leonard. I think
Yeah, you're
it
right.
was
I'm
just a
sorry. I'm
mistake.
sorry. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, no, I mean, I like Giancarlo Giannini. I think he's a good actor. I've seen him in a few movies, not that many. Um, I liked him as an actor, and his role, he played it how he needed to play it, so there was nothing wrong there. I just thought that his character and the boy could have been cut, but the fact that they're there doesn't bother me. It's just, but yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I think for what they were trying to do, it worked, but it just didn't really like fully work for me.
Yeah. No, yeah, he was okay. Like I like the fact that he was trying to teach Chewie and take care of him and stuff. I thought it was kind of cool that he had his little job as a shoe polisher and you don't even
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still a thing in New York or not, but I've never seen that anywhere that I've been to. So I thought it was kind of cool to see that and to see him just working hard at his little business and he loved what he did. I thought that was cool. But there's a difference between that having its own movie or something and adding it to a creature feature that doesn't quite need that. Um,
Yeah.
But speaking on highlights of the film, Josh Brolin, this is a minor role for him, even though for me it didn't feel that minor. I mean, I felt like he had a lot of like talking parts. Is there any sign of the actor he'd become watching that?
Yeah, I mean, I think he already had been in a few movies. Obviously, like we said, The Goonies and stuff like that as a teenager. Um, I forgot he was in this movie, and I've seen it a few times. But I think, yeah, he plays it well. I liked him in it. I agree with you. I don't think he has such small screen time. He comes out a decent amount. And his death, like you said, was what your favorite scene, as far as tension and stuff like that. It was a good scene. I thought he played it well, so I liked him in it. I think if it was somebody else was cast, probably could have played it well too. But I liked what he did, and I was surprised to see him and happy to see him because he's a great actor. So you?
He, dude, I forgot he was in there, but I thought he did a fantastic job, especially that death, man. I was like, shit. I was like, no. I was like, don't take him. Why, God? But yeah, no, he did a great job.
Yeah. So do you want to move on to the legacy and let's talk about what Mimic actually meant to Del Toro? As Del Toro has said, there was something in this movie that forced me, like the mimics, to evolve into something different. It made me survive, and it made me find my own voice. Um, Mimic led directly to Blade 2. Weinstein Miramax, despite the friction, kept hiring him. Why? That's a good question. I'm a little confused by it because I could have sworn that Blade 2 was a Warner Brothers New Line Cinema movie, not a Weinstein Miramax movie. Uh, but we know what? We would have to kind of research that a little better.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that by any
No, dude.
chance?
No, I don't. But it is
Just
interesting because it's like we do know that regardless of anything, the Weinsteins are always big about making money.
yeah.
So they're and if it's like if they have somebody making the money, I'm sure even if it was like a bit of a difficulty to work with, they'll take that sacrifice just to be able to make it.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking up Blade 2 here. I mean, I know I'm right about it being a Warner's Brothers, New Line Cinema, I'm sorry, which is now it's the same thing. I would have to see it's got 13 producers on it, and I do see, let me see. No, the Weinsteins didn't have anything to do with Blade as far as I could tell.
Hmm.
I was thinking that I think maybe he did work with the Weinsteins after this one more time, but I couldn't remember for what movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be kind of weird. But I also understand sometimes, you know, after that he could have, and Del Toro becoming bigger, he could have been like, hey, look, I'll work with you guys again, but you got to give me final cut. If you give me
Yeah.
final cut, you leave me alone, then that's fine. You know.
Which, which is funny because that's kind of what he does in his career going forward. After the Weinstein experience, it really hardened Del Toro. Like, dude, he began fighting a lot harder for his final cuts on everything after this. Like, Pan's Labyrinth 2006 was self financed in part so he could retain control. Very, very smart. Less
Mm.
investors means less, you know, people whispering in your ear. And yeah, his Mimic an important film, not for what it is, but for what it produced. I mean, would have would we have gotten the Del Toro we know without the traumatic Mimic? I think
Hard to
so.
tell. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so. I think hard to tell. I mean, I think experiences in life in general, mold you into the person that you become. Bad
yeah,
experiences, good experiences, both of them. So I do think that this experience was a bad thing, but I think it made him an even better director. I think down the line, eventually, he was going to have a bad experience. Everybody does, with certain jobs in life, and he would have still been the guy that he is, but it happened earlier in his career, just like it happened to David Fincher with Alien 3. He disowns that movie, hates that movie, but I'm sure he learned a lot from it. And he's become, at least in my opinion, one of the best directors out there. Like, I love Fincher. I think he's a great director. Went on to do Seven after that. So it turned out great for him too. So sometimes you just need to have these experiences and they make you better.
oh yeah, that's true. I mean, it's in the end of the day, man. Sometimes like pressure builds diamonds, and that's kind of what happened with him. It really opened up his eyes to working with an American production company and all that. And it sucks, dude. Right in the beginning to just get kind of like shit on like that, but at the same time, it's like it helped. It made a difference for him.
Yeah.
Um, like if
And
no, no, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I was gonna ask you if the Toro had been given the full control of Mimic from day one. Do you think we would have gotten like a masterpiece from him out of this, or was the Weinstein fiction actually part of what forced Del Toro to grow? A little bit of what we just spoke upon.
Yeah, dude. I think if they would have given full control, um, it would have been a bit of a different movie in the sense of maybe style. The story probably would have been a little bit tighter, but overall, I mean, because even though he did edit, like do the director's cut, it's like you said before. There's parts that he just had to use that maybe would not have been scenes that he wanted to use. But overall, I mean, man, dude, in another parallel reality, he had full control, and I wish I was there to kind of be able to see what it would have become. Like, who knows? It could have been like a freaking Criterion movie for all we know. I mean, the story's there, the mood is there. It's just there was little things that stuck out, but then it's hard because it's like, was it because he was a young director, or was it because of the interference? I mean, the budget was there, so like what really happened? I mean, who knows, man? Only he knows, and the Weinsteins, I think they're in jail or something, so maybe they're sitting there wondering
Yeah.
themselves, thinking
Oh,
about
Harvey.
Mimic. Yeah,
Harvey's definitely in jail. The other one, I'm not even sure. Yeah, I mean, who knows, man? But yeah, like I said before, the question, it happens. You grow from it. You get
yeah,
better. So
and
I'm
it's
glad that
funny,
he had a great career.
dude, and it's funny because like this movie, it talks about like it comes up in this 2017 Telegraph list called Harvey Scissorhands. It's a 6 films ruined by Harvey Weinstein.
Mm.
Um, and talking about that, do you think the ruined is the right word, or is it more of a complicated? It's more complicated than that.
Well, I mean, if they have all these articles written about it, and Guillermo del Toro has spoken out about it enough, I'm sure that they had their hand in ruining something that could have been something different. I think there's still a lot of entertainment to be had in the movie, and I do think that this is a movie that there has its fans and its cult following. But do I think we probably could have gotten a better movie? Yes, yeah, I do
Yeah,
think we could have gotten a better movie. But we got the best that he could do with what he had with the director's cut, and like that's as far as it's probably gonna go with this one.
yeah. Well, dude, last question before we jump into our rating. Um, and this one's it might be a hard one. If you can't think of anything, no worries. I mean, we could always ask the audience. But in today's actors, right, with today's actors, if they recast Mimic, who would you put in each role? If if you could think of anyone in particular, and also, do you think it would change anything in the film?
Yeah, I know we have that question. And I saw it in our notes, and the only reason I skipped it is because I was like, damn, I really needed time to think about it, because it's like I'm trying to think of new actors. Who would I put in there? I mean, for Josh Brolin, I'll just throw in Josh Brolin. I mean, he's still around, and I think he could
Yeah,
play it. I don't know if he would take the role nowadays because he's a pretty big time guy now, and he's doing all these Dune and big movies, but he's a pretty humble guy, so maybe he would. Uh, it's hard to for Mira Sorvino is really the one I was trying to think about the most. I
yeah,
was thinking maybe I don't know. I was thinking maybe just thinking of another blonde that's I was thinking maybe well she's not really blonde. She kind of comes and goes. But talking about Rachel McAdams, she's such a good actress, man. I think she could pull this role off pretty well. Just playing a scientist and this and that. Like she's good. So I think Rachel McAdams for Susan Taylor. Um, Giovanni, I'm sorry, Giancarlo Giannini. If you want to pick someone from Italy again, it would be tough for me, or
yeah.
somebody in a foreign actor. But so that I don't know. I really would have to like really think about it. But I think the most important actor in here is Mira Sorvino. So I guess if I had to cast her today, it would probably be Rachel McAdams. I'll stay with that at least to give you one. You have any?
Dude, I think Sigourney Weaver. Like, I feel like
Really?
yeah, I don't know. I think she'll be pretty interesting for it.
Well,
I
you'd have
feel
to take the whole pregnancy thing out of it because she's a little old to be pregnant. She's in her almost like 70 years old.
yeah,
So
that's definitely what I would do for sure. Like that, I think that part, the pregnancy part, we could take out. Um, but I think just because she's older and she's a scientist and all that stuff, I think it would look kind of cool. And the fact that she's already like a badass, like we've seen her in Alien, um, just seeing her deal with these creatures and stuff. I feel like it'll be kind of cool. Also seeing Rachel McAdams in Send Help, that new movie. I think that's what it's called. The new movie with being
Yeah.
stranded on the island. She did phenomenal seeing that side of her. So I think seeing her kind of face off against these creatures would be kind of cool. Um, damn. And there's this new, I'm trying to think. There's this actress that's like really hot right now, and like not hot. Like, well, yeah, she's attractive, but I mean more of all like her acting. And they're putting her in a lot of horror movies, and I can't remember her name for the life of me. But I know she's kind of like a brunette though. But she would. I feel like she would do good in this film too.
Is it
Uh,
Jenna Ortega? No. I mean,
no,
she is in a lot of horror stuff, but
yeah, no, no,
I didn't
not
think it was her, but I was trying to think of, unless it's the other girl from Scream, that was in a few Scream movies, Melissa Barrera. She would probably be pretty good, I guess. But there's not too many female roles in this movie, other than Mira Sorvino's friend
yeah,
that helps her out for a little bit, and then she doesn't come out anymore. I don't
yeah.
remember. Did she die?
No, she doesn't. She's actually in the sequel. She's the only legacy
Oh, she's
character.
young.
Yeah, she's the only legacy character that shows up in the sequel. Um,
Makes sense. Yeah.
But guys, I mean, listen, help us out. Like, let us know in the comments. If you were to recast these guys, I mean, who would you be using? I mean, even if it's the main character, the main scientist, Sorvino. Like, if you would replace her with anybody, who would it be? Like, let us know, because I'm genuinely curious, man. I mean, especially
Yeah.
with the actors that we have now. Like, I mean, it would be, or I mean, who knows, man? If somehow one day Guillermo del Toro's bored and he's driving somewhere and he stumbles upon this episode, maybe we can motivate him to make a remake of his film and maybe help him cast some new characters. So who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I definitely say that if next time we do our next episode, if the question comes up, I will have better answers. I stick with my Rachel McAdams as the main actress, but I
Yeah.
having a little bit of a tougher time trying to figure out the rest. But let
Oh,
us know.
well, yeah. Now, let's move on to the movie ratings. Now, we're obviously letterbox style. That's usually what we've always done here, and all 3 seasons. So we'll
Mhm.
continue that religiously. But as far, we had 2 different ratings, right? We had theatrical cut and director's cut. Right now on Letterbox, it's sitting at 3.1 out of 5, approximately. Um, as far as we're just gonna stick to director's cut based on for one, supporting Sir Guillermo del Toro, but also based on what we've seen. um,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're rating the movie we saw, and it's the director's cut. So,
yeah,
you want to give your rating first? Go for it.
yeah. I think out of 5, I'll give it a 3.5. Um, thoroughly enjoyed it. I love the science behind it, the story, the not the awkward, but like the uncomfortableness of it, like with the rain and all that. It just reminded me of Seven. I thought that was cool. Some beautiful shots in the film. Yeah, it needed some work here and there's some polishing, but overall, like I'm glad I got to see it. I don't own it, unfortunately, but who knows? Maybe they do a box set with all 3 of them and it's on sale or something. I get to get it, or if not, I'll just get the KL version, the Kino Lorber one, and get the
Yeah.
4K, and then watch all the special features on there and see if it's any brighter or anything like that. But what about you?
If I wouldn't have rewatched it this a little bit ago when I did, I would have probably given it the same rating as you. But I have to stick with my heart how I felt about it that day. This is one of my lowest ratings in the. I don't think I've ever gone lower than a 3, but this is a 2.5 right now for me. Now,
What?
2.5 out of 5 is not that bad, guys. It's still half. It's not bad. I think anything under a 2.5 is definitely a movie you don't like. I still like the movie. It's middle of the road a little bit. I found it a little bit and a little bit of a slog. I wasn't as interested or entertained as I used to be as a kid with this one. I really liked this movie as a kid, and I love creature features. Um, so yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe it was just that day. If I rewatch it again in a couple of years, maybe I'll like it a little more. I was thinking of going with a 3, because that's probably where it should sit for me. But I'm gonna go 2.5 this time. It's time for me to throw a 2.5 out there. This is the one for now.
Somebody boo this man. Boo.
We need the sound effects.
Yeah.
Boo.
No, I respect it, man. I mean, it's that's the beauty of stuff like this. We're all entitled to our opinion, and I mean, if it didn't stick this time around, it didn't stick, and I was actually looking forward to making this episode because of that too, because after I rewatched it, I was like, damn, what the hell is Lee talking about? But I was
I
curious to
love that.
hear.
Love that.
No, yeah, I love the fact that we're not always gonna give it like a shining review, and it gives openness to talk about and hear. Like, I'm glad I got to hear your thoughts on like the storyline with the kid and everything, because there was stuff that I didn't think about at the time. And then once you bring it up, it's like, oh shit, he's kind of right. Like, it's maybe with that. And then it makes me think about, oh, maybe the pregnancy thing too. Um, and that's the beauty of it, man. That's the beauty of these discussions. It really, sometimes it could sway your perception on it and be like, oh, you know what? You're right. You kind of took off, helped me take off those rose colored glasses
Yeah,
on this
no,
one.
and honestly, after talking about it, I it kind of brought me back to like a 3, but I
Yeah.
was like, I'm just gonna stay with the feeling that I had when I finished watching it, because after I was talking about it and stuff, I probably would have stuck more with a 3, and it probably
Yeah.
deserves that. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stick with how I felt on that Friday night that was watching it on the projector, drinking a little whiskey, and I was a little buzzed. I was like, this movie's not as good as it used to be, man. So
You're like,
that's
fuck you.
I'm gonna stick with Buzzed Lee's opinion on it, but Sober Lee is going back to a 3, but I'm gonna stick with 2.5.
There he is. There he is. Oh, you can't take it back. But
Yeah, yeah, no, it's
well,
done. It's cemented.
it's cemented, and you guys heard it here first. But so now let's jump into the finale, guys. Thank you for hanging on with us. We got some movie recommendations for you. So if Mimic got under your skin, here are 5 films worth watching next, each one connected to what makes Mimic interesting: creature horror, genetic consequence, underground dread, or Del Toro's DNA. I'm only going to talk about, so we got 5, obviously. I'm only going to talk about 3, and then Lee, I'll give you the other ones. And the reason why one of them in
Yeah.
particular I still haven't seen yet. Um, but I do want to talk about one of my favorites. I have the Shout Factory box set of The Fly from 1986. This is David Cronenberg's masterpiece of science gone wrong, body horror. A scientist accidentally fuses his DNA with a housefly during a teleportation experiment. Like Mimic, the horror comes from the unintended consequences of genetic engineering, but the fly goes further, deeper, and more personally than almost any horror film before or since. This one has a lot of um,
Great movie.
yeah, great movie, practical effects, fantastic film. So highly recommend that one. Annihilation from 2018. It's an Alex Garland's science horror film about a team of scientists entering a mysterious environmental zone where nature has begun rewriting its own rules. Shares mimics DNA in the best way: biological horror, unintended evolution, and an atmosphere of dread that never fully explains itself. One of the best creature science horror films of the 21st century. And last but not least, this one is in, at least last but not least on my part, this one is in the Criterion Collection, Pan's Labyrinth from 2006. What Del Toro built towards after surviving Mimic and Blade 2 is a dark fairy tale set in post Civil War Spain, where a young girl retreats into an underground fantasy world. The creative freedom he fought for is on full display in this one. This is what Mimic could have been if he'd had Final Cut. Who knows? We'll never, unfortunately, we might never know the answer unless he somehow records it or films it. So
Yeah. So, Tremors, 1990. You've seen this, right?
yeah, of course, yeah,
So I love this movie. This is a
yeah,
full-on fun
yeah,
creature feature. Like, there's no, this is full on full blast. It's there's a fun cousin to Mimic. It's a giant underground worm creature terrorizes a small Nevada town where Mimic is atmosphere. Oh, I'm sorry. Where Mimic is atmosphere and dark, Tremors is witty and propulsive. But both share a love of creature design and building tension throughout that you can't see. A great palette cleanser after Mimic Screamer Tone, for sure. If you want to do like a double feature of these, watch Mimic first, for
yeah.
sure, because then you're gonna have a fun little night, finishing off with something a little bit more just fun and goofy.
They made a ton of them
Um,
too, a ton of Tremor movies. So
yeah, there's like 7 of them, dude.
yeah, man.
And Chronos is Del Toro's debut movie. And this one you said you haven't seen, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, I have to give this one a rewatch. It's the one that got him the job for Mimic. It's a Mexican unique dealer discovers an ancient device that grants eternal life at a terrible cost. Shot for almost nothing. It's pure Del Toro. Insects, clockwork, obsession, and beauty. Ancestral viewing to understand what Weinstein was messing with.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. And that, again, that was a Criterion. I know there's a 4K release for it as well. I almost picked it up a year ago. It would have been a blind buy, but then I thought, I was like, you know what? I should check it out. I think it's on HBO on the streaming platform. So
Yeah, I think
if
it's on there. And
yeah,
Devil's Backbone.
exactly. Yeah. And I gotta check if Devil's Backbone, I have it on my watch list, but I know I have Chronos on there. So I do plan on watching it at some point. Just have a bit of a list of stuff to get through still, but that's definitely one that's I've been wanting to check out. Um,
Yeah.
but besides that, guys, that wraps everything up for us. So here's the question Mimic keeps asking without quite answering. When something evolves to survive, is that a failure or is that just life doing what life does? The Judas Breed wasn't supposed to exist. Del Toro's vision of this movie wasn't supposed to exist either. And yet, here we are, still talking about both of them.
Yeah. And if you're watching the director's cut for the first time, pay attention to the spaces, the tunnels, the shadows, the way the creatures hide in plain sight. That's Del Toro's real movie trying to breathe.
Yeah, before we go, we want to hear from you guys. So, if you could genetically engineer one creature to solve a real world problem, what would you make? And what are the odds it tries to eat you within the next 3 years? Let us know, guys. Let us know in the comments. Now,
Yes.
what about you, Lee? Could you think of any creature you would genetically engineer, or you want to leave that
Oh
to the
man.
audience?
Yeah. They have more time to answer. My brain's a little fried at the moment, but I can't. I would like to hear some answers for that for sure. I'll throw
Mm.
mine in there if they put it in the comments for
There
sure.
you go. We'll be watching, guys. So yeah, drop your answer in the comments, hit us on socials, and leave us a review if you've been enjoying the show. It generally helps us reach more listeners, especially with these algorithms and all that stuff, guys.
Yeah, and one more time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Valoria Video for sponsoring tonight's episode. Use code FACETheMovies10 for 10% off. Support a great small business and start building a movie collection like GC and I. No streaming service can take that away from you. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, guys, it's owning physical media is awesome. It's making a resurgence, and I don't think it's ever gonna go away as long as we keep buying the stuff and showing these companies that it's like we're still interested in owning our movies and our music and all that. So great
For sure.
ways support small business. ValoriaVideo.com. Go show them some love. But until then, guys, you could follow me, GC, on Face the Movies on YouTube and Instagram. And for Lee,
Yeah, Media Whiplash now. So you can check me out there on Instagram and YouTube. New stuff coming soon. Thank you guys for joining us today.
yeah, like, comment, subscribe, stay spooky, and we'll see you on the next episode of Friday Night Fright Night. We love you guys and see you soon.
See ya.